fall to the Philadelphia Eagles. Final score here, 22-40.
Yeah, the Chiefs were hoping to become the first NFL team to secure a three-peat, but that just wasn't the case. A season full of close games and comebacks, and tonight they just couldn't do it.
Was not one of them, but there was a packed house here in town at many spots around town watching this game in anticipation of that hopeful three-peat, and many of those parties, of course, let down at this hour that will not be the case. We will not be bringing home the trophy here to KC after Super Bowl 59. One of the biggest parties around town, of course, in Power and Light right there in the KC Live stage. And KCTV5 Sharon Chen has been there all throughout the evening and now into the night. How has the crowd been there, Sharon?
Well, I got to tell you, Carolyn, it started off tonight. It was completely off the hook when we first got here. Everybody was packed shoulder to shoulder. I mean, you had this whole bottom area filled, even up on top, on the stairs. It was a sea of red. Now it is a very, very different story. People are clearing out. I don't know if you can see the bottom level here, but, you know, just a few people left, and the ground is just littered with signs of the humongous party that was here earlier. Now, we did speak to some Chiefs fans just a few moments ago, and despite the heartbreaking loss tonight, they are managing to keep things positive. Okay, it does seem like we have the sound for you, but they did say that, you know, despite the heartbreaking loss tonight, they're keeping it positive. They were glad that they came out here to celebrate, even though what is still a history-making day, because the Chiefs made it to the Super Bowl. And they said that maybe they didn't do it this year, they're going to do it next year. So they're staying positive, they're taking things in stride. Carolyn, we'll send it back to you.
Sharon, just curious, this did not look good, especially going into halftime. Did the crowd stay strong, or did you see people kind of filtering out much earlier than expected?
We did kind of see people kind of start filtering out. I think at that halftime point, people really kind of started losing a little hope. But there were still some people here kind of sticking around, hoping that maybe some miracle would occur. But yeah, tough night here for sure.
Yeah, even at the half, Chiefs down 24-0. So he's looking at the shots over at Power and Light during today. You just saw the crowd just stagnant, dull,
and quiet, unusually quiet.
Right, so different from what you normally see there.
Going into halftime, we even had to look up the statistics and realize that no other team has ever been shut out completely in a Super Bowl, and we're thankful at least it didn't end that way. So let's go to KCTV5's Gianni Navarro. She's been all evening long with the folks there in Westport at Kelly's. How's that crowd doing, Gianni?
Well, Carolyn, when we first got here, you know, this place was decently packed. The energy was high. People were hopeful. Everyone kept on saying, you know, we're going to get that three-peat. Unfortunately, we did not win the game, and this place is now starting to empty out. People are still hanging around at the moment, but I think a lot of people, despite seeing the score on the screen and despite seeing that time left, a lot of people still sticking around. I heard one man yell in the back, there's still time left after we were scoring those last minute touchdowns. But a lot of people were also visibly upset. I spoke to one girl who actually had tears coming down her face, and she said she has no idea what is happening. She really, really genuinely thought that we were going to win. I talked to a gentleman earlier in the evening. He was here wearing an Eagles jersey, but he revealed to me that he wasn't even an Eagles fan. He was a Raiders fan, but hates the Chiefs. He joked about the score being 63-0 or 63-3, and he kind of came back and said, listen, I wasn't that far off. So I think he was happy tonight, but a lot of people here not the happiest to not see that win. But of course, fans still have a message. I have one fan who has a message for us at the end of this night. What's your message?
My message is we gave the best we could. We'll be back next year. Hey, they got the best of this year. I have no doubt in my mind that we'll be we'll be back next year. We have a solid team. Game plan just wasn't right this year. But listen, I have my faith in number right here. We'll be back next year. Don't count us out.
There you go, guys. He said it best. Back to you.
Yeah, a lot of heartbreak in Chiefs Kingdom tonight, but I feel like a lot of fans probably share that sentiment. Like, all right, this wasn't our year, but we're going to get it next year.
Yeah, we'll be back to it. But they were up against a very fierce opponent throughout this entire game from the jump. All right, let's go to KCTV5's Betsy Webster now. She is helping us out also at Power at Light, though from a very different vantage point. Hi, Betsy.
Hey there, I had my hand up to my ear because it is still very loud here with the music. We're downstairs at KC Live, and I have to say, I've never seen it when it's been this empty. Would you take a look at what I have? My sympathies to whoever has to clean this up. A few words: shocking, disappointing. We've seen so many close wins with the Chiefs in the postseason where they've been nail biters that were a thrill to watch, but this was a blowout. Now you can see that there are some people still here, some people just dancing to the music, and I have to say, I've heard people say that they were disappointed, but I haven't met anyone who was angry. And you know that can happen with a loss. People get legit angry. Now, we actually talked to some of the folks who started leaving at the end of the third quarter.
This was my first year going to Power and Light, and like we both really wanted to be down here for it. And I mean, it was fun regardless. I think sitting at home with how this turned out would have been a lot worse than like with people. So I think it was still a good choice.
We kind of made a bet where it was like, score something, just like score something. And then they finally did, but we were like, it's gonna take a miracle. And we've been here since like what, 2:30? Three. Yeah. So yeah, we got it next year.
Yeah.
And you know what, guys? Even the greats sometimes falter. Even the greats have bad nights. And that's the thing about football. One of the things that makes it so exciting, unlike baseball or hockey, it's not a series. So one bad game can make you lose it all. And since we're only, some people are still in a good mood. I have to say, one woman told me we still have a chance for a three-peat. It's just going to take another 3 years. And hey, I want to give a shout out to a couple I met. Not a lot of love for this game, but a lot of love between them. Alina loves Jason. Live at Power Light, Betsy Webster, KCTV5 News.
Oh, we love that. With some good news on this Sunday night. The gentleman who said score something. You know, we were sitting in the newsroom watching this game along with so many of you, and we all were like, please,
come on,
don't let this be a total
let's
shutout.
Let's get on the board.
Yeah.
And ultimately we did, in
right.
a strong finish, really, finally, by the end. Final score, 40-22. Well, there is partying going on in all points of the metro. We want to check in with fans in all places. So let's go to KCTV5's Ryan Hennessy. He's actually on Mass Street in Lawrence. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, yeah, so behind me, if we would have won, these trees, everybody would have been out here in the street celebrating under the red lights. Unfortunately, it's barren out here. Everybody's kind of cleared out of the bars. It is a little bit depressing, but, you know, the Chiefs gave it their all. And let's just see if we can find some Chiefs fans out here on Mass Street. We got a few right here that were inside Jefferson's watching the game.
That's right.
Give me your takeaway. I mean, this is a tough one.
You know, it is a tough one. It is depressing. However, Chiefs Kingdom all day. I'll support them, whether they win, lose, tie, all day long. I'm on the Chiefs side. You know, still Chiefs Kingdom, baby.
Is the team going to be back next year? You think you're going to be?
I think so.
Absolutely,
I think they'll learn from it, and I think we'll come back stronger. So
Come back stronger. I like that.
just start it over again.
The three-peat coming up in the next few years. You know, I think that three-peat, it's still brewing for us. We're just not there yet, but we're almost there.
Well, the thing that this is a dynasty. I think that's what everybody's kind of been saying, and this isn't over. We want to be back next year against the Eagles. Are we going to learn something? We're going to do something next year to them. What do you think?
you know, we just got to come back stronger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Come back stronger, I think.
We've got Andy Reid, we've got Patrick Mahomes.
Learn the mistakes we did this year.
Yeah.
Come back next year and just.
Andy Reid isn't done yet. He's not done yet.
But what about Travis Kelce? You think he's done?
Travis Kelce, I think if he would have won tonight, he'd be done.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's done.
Yeah.
I think he's got another year, maybe even another one after that.
Unfinished business. He needed to get that Super Bowl trophy this year to maybe propose to Taylor Swift. That would have been a sight to see. Guys, oh, I took the breath away out of you. Yeah, that would have been great. Honestly, it's just too bad. But this is the thing. We're still optimistic out here in Lawrence, and you know we're gonna have fun. You can check back into this a little bit later on. We did talk to an Eagles fan. He was having the time of his life. He told me he was gonna try to find as many Eagles fans as he could and fill up Mass Street. I can't see any Eagles fans out there right now. There's none behind me. Yeah, honestly, I just don't know if there's it's not going to happen this year, as this gentleman over my shoulder is saying. All right, reporting from Lawrence, Ryan Hennessy, KSTV5. Still, go Chiefs.
Yeah, go Chiefs. He probably, that Eagles fan probably should have stayed in Philadelphia, where I'm sure they are partying very hard
Can
tonight.
you imagine the streets in Philly? And I'm sure we're going to be bringing you scenes from that as we continue our post-game coverage here tonight. We've been talking to a lot of fans who, you know, are just watching and trying to break down this game. But let's get to the experts now. Jared Kohler and Desmond Moses both here with us now to help us really dissect what went wrong tonight, guys.
Yeah, Carolyn, sorry to kind of damper the mood, I feel like. But unfortunately, we're going to talk a little football, and the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl tonight, guys. I know that's not breaking news at this point, but it was not the night that Chiefs Kingdom dreamed of. Former Chiefs linebacker Desmond Moses joins us. We're going to talk X's and O's, big plays, what went wrong for the next hour and a half here with Des. But I got to start off with, you've been in the locker room after a playoff loss, not necessarily of this magnitude, but still take us inside that locker room right now for the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's disappointing. You know, all of the work that you put in over the season, over these years to build up to this moment. Nothing is a consolation prize. These guys wanted to win. They put their best foot forward, but tonight the Eagles were the better team. True disappointment. They'll have to go home, reevaluate, lick their wounds. But tonight, hey, they need to celebrate a heck of a season that they did have. Heck of a season, but just not the one that they wanted.
Yeah, how do you think the players and coaches process that? Do they look outward? Do they look inward? Are they able to take the silver lining in the season that was, or is every person different?
Well, this is the Super Bowl. This is the end of the year, so there's going to be a time frame where you got to sit and think about this, and you know that's the toughest part, the time in which you got to spend thinking about this until you can put in some more work next year and try to compete for another Super Bowl championship. But right now, these guys are distraught. You come down to a year that's so special, and it ends like this. It's not what they expected.
Yeah, even though the expectation is extremely high, an expectation that no other team in NFL history has done, still when your goal isn't met, it's heartbreaking. I think that's the feeling here in Chiefs Kingdom as well. It's disappointing. It's frustrating the way in which it happened, where they come out and completely lay an egg. So with that as the transition, Des, what went wrong in the game itself?
Yeah, started right up front. You know, we got dominated offensively and defensively on the front line. Their offensive line handled our defensive line, and defensively, you saw what they did to our offensive line. We tried all year to try and mix and match and put guys in there to try and protect Pat, but tonight there was an all-world type of performance by this defensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles, and you know the game of football for forever will start up front. Tonight they won up front.
Yeah, and we talked about how the Chiefs in their last 3 Super Bowl wins had gotten down 10 points every single time, and that's not reason to panic because the Chiefs have proven that they can flip the switch and come back. They got down 10 tonight, Des, but then when Patrick Mahomes threw that pick-6 interception to Cooper DeJean, then he threw another interception on his very next pass attempt, gets down 24-0. That's when you're starting to feel like, okay, this is different. It's really snowballed into the result that we saw.
Uncharacteristic. You know, we don't see that very often.
Here's Creed Humphrey live at the podium in New Orleans.
You know, for me, it was never about the three-peat. It was about living in the moment and, you know, just getting this one done. You know, it's a different team. We have a bunch of new guys, and, you know, we wanted to win one for them. So, you know, it hurts, you know, not getting the job done no matter what. You know, they just played with really good effort, and, you know, it was their night. And, you know, we need to step up and, you know, just don't let this feeling get lost. You know, make sure we feel this throughout the offseason and come back better.
Was there any chance that you guys underestimated some of the new players that back and forth?
No, not at all. We knew it was a really good defense. We knew they had a ton of talent everywhere. We just got to come out and execute better.
What was Pat like in the huddles and
Yeah, just stayed positive the entire time, kept fighting, led by example, played his tail off every single snap this game.
All right, thanks, guys. Thank you.
We're beginning now to hear from some of the players reacting to obviously a disappointing end to Super Bowl 59. Creed Humphrey there saying basically that all throughout the game, regardless of how it started and regardless of how it ended, Patrick Mahomes was there on the sideline cheering them on, rooting them on, saying, let's keep fighting.
Yeah, he said this wasn't about a three-peat. This was about living in the moment and playing this game for the players on this team. We'll continue to hear from players as they make their way to the podium. For now, though, let's get back out to Gianni, who is at Kelly's in Westport with how fans are coping with this loss. Gianni?
Yeah, Zach, I'm here at Kelly's. You know, when I first got here, it was pretty jam-packed. You can see people are starting to leave. But the one thing that I want to point out is, and one thing you can't say about Chiefs fans, is that we're not sore losers. No one here was angry. I mean, there were some people who were visibly upset, crying, but no one's saying, you know, I hate my team sucks because we lost. Everyone is still staying positive. They keep on saying there's still time until next year. And even though the game clock was still running out, and there was no way of them catching up, I can still hear people saying, you know, it's not done yet, it's not over. Just the positivity just resonates throughout this Chiefs kingdom. Now, I did talk to a few fans before that game clock officially ran out, and this is what they had to say.
This brings a tear to my eye. I love to see it. I can't wait to wear this jersey to work every day this week.
This is the worst we played in our lives. I don't know what is going on, and I'm really upset.
Yeah, I love showing out, but this is rough. This is rough. This is probably one of the worst nights of football I've ever had. Yeah.
Yeah, and the message I keep hearing, guys, is there's always next year. Back to you.
Yeah, you know, you hear them talk about, Gianni, that this is one of the worst football games they've seen, but we also have to be reminded of just how good this team is. They weren't good tonight, but we have seen them play good, not just this season, but the last several years.
Exactly right. And quite frankly, we've become quite accustomed to winning here in Kansas City. We're not quite sure what to do with a loss around here, not during the regular season and not even at the Super Bowl.
Right.
So anyway, we are coping with it as best we can. Glad to hear that most of Kansas City, though, reacting to this news of this loss tonight and saying, you know what, hopefully we'll be back. But this team has brought us this far yet again, which is just amazing.
Well, and you talk about, as we keep an eye on the podium there down in New Orleans, you know, Gianni talked about how the Chiefs fans aren't being sore losers, you know, like we have a great fan base here, and tonight wasn't our night, but I like that folks are trying to stay optimistic, saying, okay, we didn't get it tonight, we're going to get it next year, we're going to stay behind this team. Because we know that they're capable of doing what they can do.
Let's go now to KCTV5's Marlia Campbell. She has spent the entire week there in New Orleans. She is right there in the Superdome tonight with the sad reality of the end of this game. Marlia.
Hi, Carolyn. Well, it is just madness, as you can imagine, here. And we were hoping we'd be seeing a packed field full of fans and confetti, but unfortunately that confetti is green and white today. The Chiefs could not get it started from the get-go, and that dream of a historic three-peat will end here. It'll be at least 3 more years if they're able to get back to it. As you can imagine, Eagles fans very excited about this one, but unfortunately the Lombardi will not be coming back to Kansas City. We'll be taking a deep dive into what happened this game for the rest of the evening, but right now, take a moment to soak in what this team has done so far and how close they got. And this is the new standard, getting back to this game. Team will certainly be back next year, but what a heartbreaking finish to what is otherwise an incredible season.
Yeah, Marlia, thank you. We do want to get to the podium now where wide receiver Xavier Worthy is speaking.
So far this year, and you have a lot of career ahead of you. I guess what kind of hope does that give you for your future?
Man, like you said, rookie year, this might be a passing question, but I just want to thank the guys in my room. This might be my last time playing with them. Some of them might be his last game. Trades happen, so I just want to thank the guys. They really helped me out a lot. Just with my development as a man and as a player in this league. Just the knowledge they gave me to learn and keep building my rookie year. I just really appreciate them for that.
Xavier, you get 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl as a rookie, which is, a fantastic achievement. Before it to come in a game like tonight where you guys don't come through, is it a bit bittersweet or how does it describe it?
Man, it's happened in the 60-minute game, man. As long as it happened, I mean, just going out there and putting my best foot forward. No matter the score, just going out there. The score is blank at the end of the day. Just go out there and just keep trying to put my best foot forward.
Xavier, what does it say about your development that you were able to get to this point to perform as you did tonight?
Like I said, I got to give all credit to my guys in the room, even Trav and Pat. Just Pat for believing me, just putting the balls up there and throwing them to help me and just trust me to go out there and make the play.
What can you learn from tonight? I mean, 2 touchdowns, the offensive effort. What can you learn personally from a night like tonight?
Just carry this into training camp. I feel like we're going to be back. Just use this as field to
playing behind the sticks on offense.
More. How do I say it? I'm out of words right now.
Now let's hear from Travis Kelce as well, speaking post-game.
Executing. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. You don't lose like that without everything going bad. So
you were very emotional going to some of those guys.
What's that?
What's most shocking about this type of performance?
That we haven't played that bad all year.
Did they do anything that surprised you guys at all and caught you off guard?
Normally you guys can turn it around.
I know you talked about that before in these games where trying to keep everyone going to the sidelines. Was it difficult today?
I mean, just couldn't find that spark, couldn't find that momentum.
So the point at which you kind of were going through the game, so many times you guys have been able to turn it around, Travis. Is there a point where you just, knew that today you weren't going to be able to find that plug?
I mean, this team is going to fight till the end forever, and you saw that even with the score late. We're always going to fight.
You talked to some of those guys over there and kind of found the guys you wanted to talk to. What was your message to them?
Congratulations.
I feel like at halftime it was totally within reach.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, never lose doubt, never lose faith, especially at half.
Travis,
the team doesn't have to blitz, Travis, and they can just keep 7 back. Just how difficult is that to sort of run your concepts the way you want when the other team's getting pressure with 4 just about every time?
I think there was a lot of things going wrong. Can't just say that it was just the O-line or anything like that. I think it was accumulative of everything, not really going our way today.
What was Coach's message to you guys afterwards?
Yeah, this one's going to hurt. Let it hurt and figure out how to get better because of it. Have a good one, guys.
Well, we're hearing from a very downtrodden Travis Kelce here this evening, saying they haven't played that bad all year. Clearly off the game all night long. He says, couldn't find the spark.
Yeah, this one hurts for him and the Chiefs organization. We want to get out to our Brad Stevens, Carolina Cruz, who are live in New Orleans there at the Superdome. Guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit heartbreaking. What's interesting, though, is right after they finished the game, there was no confetti on the field. The confetti cannons didn't immediately go up. It was almost like even the confetti folks were caught off guard and had to kind of switch what cannons they were going to use. It was nuts. And we also have Andy Reid that right now is going to be speaking as well.
My hat goes off to the guys for that. And we'll learn from this. Like most games here, when you don't do very well, you learn from it as a coach, you learn from it as a player, and you move on. So time's yours.
Andy, how do you explain the one-sided?
Yeah, listen, too many turnovers, too many penalties. Against a good football team, you just can't do that.
When you talk about the struggles offensively to the third quarter, be able to cross the field, what Eagles did to cause that?
Yeah, so Vic does a nice job with that defense. They played well. They got good players and good scheme, and they executed better than what we did. They coached better, starts with me, and they played better.
Coach, can you talk about the offensive line struggles and how defense got so many sacks on Mahomes?
Yeah, their defensive line did a nice job, and again, that happens, in these games. Those lines get magnified there a little bit.
Viene you had a chance for the three-peat. Does this hurt more that you had a chance at a three-peat and you were
Yeah.
able to finish it off?
Yeah, listen, they all hurt. You get this far, you battled your tail off to get this far. Very, very hard to do. And it's we spent a lot of time doing this, and it's not a hobby, right? So we're in it the whole way, and spent a lot of hours doing it as players, as coaches. So it's going to hurt. They all hurt when you get to this level, and these things happen. Three-peat aside or any of that stuff, that you get this far and you don't play as well as you want to, it hurts.
What did you see from Patrick in terms of his fight?
But he had a question up first. Go
What
ahead.
did you see from Patrick in terms of his fight on the field and his leadership off the field?
Yeah, listen, he did a good job. The guys battled all the way to the end. Did some nice things at the end, but it was too late. Go ahead. Up there.
I was just asking, what adjustment did you try to make during halftime? I don't feel like it panned out.
Yeah, we went a little no huddle. It didn't work as well as we wanted it to. So, yeah, that was one of the adjustments.
What happened with the running game versus the passing game and the level passing runs?
Yeah, well, we got down. Yeah, so we threw the ball probably more than we would want to going into the game, but felt like it was important that we did that. Just get back in.
Do you think the players felt under pressure with that possible three-peat?
I don't think so. I mean, it's hard playing in this. I mean, this is a tough game. It's best against the best, and so I think they're more focused on that than they are three-peats and all that stuff. That wasn't a big issue there. Yeah, listen, we tried to. I thought they did a couple nice little things where they, rolled to him, and they obviously knew where he was, right? So, yeah.
Coach, you did a good job on Saquon. Was it kind of a pick your poison kind of deal?
Yeah, so I mentioned this within the week there, that they've got a lot of talent all the way around, and so you got to be as strong in the run game as you are the pass game. You shut down the pass, and you've got those receivers that do a nice job, and they got us on a couple big ones there. So you don't want to give up big plays. Spag spends a lot of time working on that, and his guys spent a lot of time working on it, and they got the best of us there on a couple of those.
Do you feel that we're fatigued or fatigued for the team?
No, I didn't feel like they were fatigued. We didn't play very well. They got the best of us today. Yeah, I thought it was pretty much the stuff that we anticipated. He didn't go too far off of what he normally does. So yeah.
Coach, can you explain the difference between preparing for that offensive line that the Eagles have and then actually playing against it tonight?
Yeah, so they had been very good against the run and just okay versus the pass, and they were very good against in both those areas. So they did a nice job in pass pro and did a nice job, with their run game. So, but I thought they played well. Their offensive line.
Couple more guys.
Did you say anything to the team afterwards?
Yeah. I'm not going to go into all of it, but I mean, I appreciated their effort, throughout the year. That was kind of the gist of it, and we can learn from this. That's how these roll.
How is this going to shape this team going forward?
Yeah, so we've got a great nucleus of players, and so like we've done before, we work on the things that we're not doing well at, whether it's coach, as a coach or a player, and we all take responsibility for it. And you listen to Pat, you listen to these other guys. That's how they are. They're stand-up guys with it. The coaches are stand-up about it. They did a better job than what we did, and that starts with me. And it's hard to face. It's hard to look at because all the time you spend, but you do that, and then you get better. That's what you do. Yeah, well, Spags did a few different things. He had a couple blitzes in there. I thought the backs their back did a nice job, both of them, of picking the blitz up, and and then just the one-on-one situations. when we got through, he moved and had some big plays there.
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, that was head coach Andy Reid in the postgame news conference, and he said it. He said, "Look, we just didn't play very well. We were making uncharacteristic mistakes, and this game from the get-go, the Kansas City Chiefs won the coin toss, and after that was about the last thing that they had to celebrate. The Patrick Mahomes, his first 2 throws, you can hear Eagles fans behind us saying, Pat Mahomes doesn't look right tonight.
Yeah.
And
he's running for his life. Things like that. They were doing the chop. I mean, you had Eagles fans taunting. Even when we got that touchdown, that first one, it didn't feel very happy. I mean, there were really not a whole lot of cheers from the Chiefs fans.
No, this was it's a brutal loss for the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, this was a complete and total beatdown. There's just no other way to describe it. The Kansas City Chiefs didn't play very well. They didn't execute very well. They made costly mistakes. On the other hand, the Philadelphia Eagles played the game of their life.
They proved they wanted to win this.
Jalen Hurts proved himself to be the most valuable player, and he played like it. And, the scoreboard says it. They won. They're world champions. Kansas City Chiefs are not. All right, for more, let's get over to sports director Marlia Campbell. Hi, Marlia.
Hey, Brad. Well, I think you nailed it when you called it a beatdown. Look, the stat that really stood out to me at halftime was the Eagles had more points than the Chiefs had in yards, 24 to 23 in those respective categories. And I was hoping, as a lot of people in the press box were, that this would be a comeback story where the team turns it on in the second half, but they just didn't seem to have that fire under their belts, and it just didn't seem like things were coming together. So a number of issues there. Of course, the Chiefs rushed the ball 1 time in the first half, and then the opportunities they did have, they just weren't able to take advantage of them. A couple plays come back to mind. That DeAndre Hopkins drop late in the first half, the pick 6 that really buried the Chiefs from Patrick Mahomes in the second quarter. There are so many individual moments, but in a game like this, with the score what it was, this team just didn't have it today, and that is so disappointing when you look at the body of work that they were able to put up the season. Number 1 seed in the AFC, getting that first round bye, playing their best football this late in the season. We felt good all week because they have been accelerating ever since the Texans game back in December, improving and building upon every single game, and they were the healthiest they've been all year. So, Brad, you and I were talking after the game, and I said, look, normally I don't look forward to losing post-game press conferences, but today I want to know what happened. And with that, we're going to go to Trent McDuffie at the post-game podium.
And for us, really, it's just holding your head up. You know what I mean? It's been a long season. We had a great year. We made it back for the 3rd time, and it didn't go our way, but I'm proud of this team, proud of myself, and we fought for 4 quarters. We never hung our heads down when we were down, and we just kept fighting. So. Don't take anything for granted. I think during the week, you can get excited, haven't lost, all these different things, but at the end of the day, you got to come ready to play a game, and I think we did a good job preparing this week, and shoot, it just didn't go our way. So learned a lot, and I'm going to just move forward from it. Yeah, I think things just went their way, The run game was pretty well. I think we stopped them pretty well, but still a few holes opened up. The pass game was rolling. We got to be better on the back end. And at the end of the day, they just came out and played harder than us. You know what I mean? And we got to take it on that chin and learn from it. Honestly, I think they just played hard. You know what I mean? Defense made some turnovers, which put our defense in a bad situation. And, yeah, everything they did kind of just went their way. So, for us, just something that you kind of just look back at, learn from, and got to turn the page because ain't really nothing we can do about it now. Yeah. It's always tough. Explosive passes, explosive runs. Just the energy and how it brought the crowd out, and just the shift of things, you never want explosive plays, especially in a game like this, and when you let it happen, it makes it hard on the defense. So definitely got to clean that up, but they had a good game.
No, I mean, they pretty much ran what they ran, you know. It's what got them here, you know, so I don't think they strayed very much from it, and they did a good job at executing the game plan.
How do you feel about your team or your defense? You guys never
Yeah, I mean.
And that was Chiefs star cornerback Trent McDuffie talking at the post-game podium. Obviously, all of these guys extremely disappointed. Trent McDuffie, a guy who has led this defense to be one of the top defenses in the NFL, ranked number 4 in yards per game. And with that, we are going to go back to the podium.
What is that experience like?
I mean, it's frustrating, but at the end of the day, when we run a bad route or, you know, we don't catch the ball for the quarterback, you know, he not looking at us crazy. So for his receivers, it's like, I mean, we playing with the best quarterback in the world. So if he make a mistake, we just move on to the next play.
You guys are so good in a couple first playoff games scoring on the first drive. So sorry. I just thought you guys wouldn't even.
We're going to close it down, Neil. Thank you for everything. Oh, appreciate you, Neil. Yeah.
We continue to hear from disappointed Chiefs. Obviously, this not the way this team wanted this to go. And it's not just this individual game, it's the history of the moment, knowing that this team had the opportunity to win three in a row, the dynasty that they're building. And the way they came out flat out of the gates here, I think, is the most disappointing message we're continuing to see. One of my favorite quotes at the post-game podium so far, these guys are all talking right now, we're going to continue to bring you coverage, is Patrick Mahomes saying, I didn't play the way I needed to. I need to do better next time. The emphasis on that last part. This team expects to get to this stage every single year. That is the new standard here in Kansas City, which is something certainly Chiefs Kingdom and this team and this club and these coaches can all be proud of, but that doesn't soften the blow of what we saw out here today. Not just the loss, but the lack of competitiveness in the game. Really from out of the gates, it didn't feel like this team was firing from all cylinders in any form today. So certainly a disappointing game, certainly a disappointing finish to what otherwise was a spectacular season. Brad and Carolina, we'll toss it back to you.
Yeah, Marlia, you're right. I mean, look, there's plenty of blame to go around, that's for sure. But I mean, I tell you what, the Chiefs' offensive line, Patrick Mahomes was running for his life, getting sacked, getting pressured, getting hurried. No one was open. He just didn't have any time. I mean, the Chiefs' offensive line was just getting dominated in the trenches. And you know, we talked about how the national pundits were talking about how the Chiefs had the quarterback and they had the coaching staff, but the Eagles had the best defense and the best offense.
And they really proved dominance of the defense right there. I was sitting next to Brad and I was melting in my seat. I could not believe what we were watching. I wanted to look away. I mean, like the sickness in your stomach, you know. Listen, I'm gonna let you guys in on something. The guy next to me ended up puking everywhere.
Yeah.
And I looked over at him and I'm like, and this isn't the worst thing that's happened to me today. Watching this game was just a bit of a train wreck.
Yeah, that kind of explains the current mood of Chiefs Kingdom right now when you're sitting next to somebody and they throw up all over. I mean, that's kind of the mood of Chiefs Kingdom right now. This is so disappointing. Look, it's a game, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. It's the way the Chiefs looked in that first half. Totally. That it was stunning. It was absolutely stunning to watch, as Chiefs Kingdom did. And as Jared and Des were watching as well, guys, take it away. Chiefs Kingdom kind of wondering what in the heck happened.
Yeah, and you heard the comments there post-game in the locker room. Des, any comments stick out to you as these guys try to process this moment?
Yeah, I mean, no excuses being made. These guys are professionals. They understand they did not get it done today, but a heck of a season, nothing to hang their head about.
Yeah, but I think you can hear the dejectedness in a guy like Travis Kelce, some shorter answers. You know, he doesn't want to talk anymore, and I think it's nice juxtaposition from we hear the fans and everyone saying, hey, this is still a great season. That is true, but make no mistake, when you get this far, when you become the first team in NFL history to actually come one win away from a three-peat, heartbreak, heartbreak, heartbreak.
Absolutely. These guys are professionals. They're perfectionists. They wanted to go out there and complete the three-peat tonight. It wasn't made for them tonight, but nonetheless, you can't hang your head, especially not when you had a season like this with a group of guys like this.
And again, we're going to be talking with Desmond about X's and O's and big plays for the next hour. But right now, you're a headline.
Yeah.
Is it more on the offensive line, more on Patrick Mahomes? Your gut reaction?
I mean, it's more on the Philadelphia Eagles. They came out and performed. Their front seven and their offensive line, they play like big dogs. That's where football starts, in the trenches. The Philadelphia Eagles did it tonight.
Well, it's interesting. Saquon Barkley, who's one of the best running backs, arguably the best running back in the NFL, did not have a great game, so you have to give the Birds credit for finding another way to win. That was passing attack with Jalen Hurts and a defense that shut out the Chiefs. Des, we talked about in our pregame show the Chiefs' offense kind of firing on cylinders, but that defense came to play.
Yeah, I mean, their defense was on fire from the start. You talk about stopping Patrick Mahomes and this offense, the depth that they have at wide receiver, they found a way to do it. But when you can rush 4 guys and put pressure on a guy like Patrick Mahomes, drop 7, it makes it a lot easier when guys have a lot of eyes on 15.
That's right. I know the final score was 40, but that wasn't the defense's fault.
Yeah.
They could only hold the dam for so long when the offense just did nothing up until the fourth quarter. It's heartbreaking, Des. A lot of the pieces will be back in the future, but end of the day, this is a missed opportunity. Again,
Absolutely.
we're going to have full game highlights and talk about the big plays that went on in New Orleans with much more reaction with a former Chief, Desmond Moses. But for now, we want to get back out to our crews in New Orleans as KC5 News at 10 starts right now.
Local, live. This is KCTV5 News at 10.
And we do want to thank you for joining us live in this edition of KCTV5 News at 10. We're coming to you live from New Orleans inside the Superdome.
Yeah, so the mood right now, obviously, you can imagine what it is for Chiefs fans. Eagles are flying high. We've got QB1 Patrick Mahomes at the podium right now.
Did you feel more overwhelmed today than you did that day? Is that a fair thing to say?
I mean, both sucked. I mean, there's no way around it. Anytime you lose a Super Bowl, it's the worst feeling in the world. They'll stick with you the rest of your career. I mean, these will be the 2 losses that will motivate me to be even better for the rest of my career, because you only get so few of these, and you have to capitalize on these, and they hurt probably more than the wins feel good.
The chance of the three-peat, Patrick, the chance of the three-peat, does hurt more than chance that went by?
No, I mean, not necessarily. Well, losing the Super Bowl just doesn't feel good either way. Anyway, I mean, I was proud of how my team fought this entire season with the expectations that we had on us, but we came up short, and so now it's how you respond, and hopefully that we can learn from this like we learned from the last loss that we had, and try to continue to get even better, because it's going to take a better football, especially for me, in order to try to make a run at another Super Bowl.
Did they describe the scene in the locker room afterwards? What did you try to get across to the guys?
You know, I didn't have to say much. You know, I thought other leaders, Chris Jones especially, spoke, and like we talked about, I mean, it hurts. I mean, it's going to hurt for a while, but how can you respond from it? We have a great football team. We still have a young football team, and a lot of these guys will be their first time having defeat in a season. And how can you get better? How can you not be satisfied with just getting here and taking your game to the next level? And that starts with me and the other leaders on this team, but it'll feed throughout the entire team, and hopefully we can come back next season and put up a better effort.
It hurts even, or like it sucks even more when you didn't really lose during the season.
Right.
Oh.
Okay, you were listening to quarterback Patrick Mahomes, dejected as all Chiefs players have been.
It hurts even more when you haven't really lost this season, right? This is what, their 3rd loss of the season. We've got our Neil Jones. He's out at the sidelines. Neil, I feel like there was almost confusion from the confetti cannons on what kind of confetti, like the confetti that they had to throw, because it took a while for them to get that green and silver out there.
Yeah, well, it took me a while to get it off me because I was covered in it, and I didn't want to come on television in Kansas City with a bunch of that. You know, it's interesting. I've always believed in sports you learn more about a person after a defeat than you do after a victory. Everybody can be all smiles and they can be really nice to you when they win, but when they lose, you kind of find out how people work. You didn't hear one person in the locker room cussing at the media. Why are you asking that? Why do you got to talk to me? Hey, it's real crowded in that locker room, really small locker room, and it would be very easy to get angry. Everybody handled this with class. Everybody talked to the media in subdued tone. Joe Tooney, he hates to do interviews anyway, and there's not much you can say. One of the best interviews I had, you heard a little bit of it, was Hollywood Brown. And one of the things I loved about it was, at the end of it, somebody asked him, how'd your guy, Xavier Worthy, the rookie, do? And he should be happy for his season. It is a great season. There are some positives to take from this season, but it's going to take a few days, I think, for these players to be able to digest and process this defeat. I don't think anybody in that locker room saw this kind of loss coming.
Yeah, I mean, for a while there, I really thought it was going to be more of a goose egg, and we were talking about history all week, and I was like, oh my goodness, we are going to make the other kind of history where it's going to be a scratch, like no points scored by the Chiefs. That would have never have happened ever before in 58 Super Bowls.
Right. Boy, inside the Superdome right now, there are very, very few Chiefs fans. I mean, the place is lingering with a lot of Philadelphia Eagles fans who are still down on the field celebrating. They should. They're world champions.
Totally.
They beat the champs. Let's get over to KCTV5 Sports Director Marlia Campbell.
Okay, we're going to go to Jared instead. There we go.
Sorry, guys, that's a downgrade, but Dez is also here, so it's an upgrade. And it sounds like we're going to go through the game highlights now. I know you're thinking, Jared, what highlights? There were some very few Chiefs highlights in here, so key moments. Let's call it that. Let's break down this game of Super Bowl 59. Kansas City and Philadelphia, both teams trade early punts. Then Jalen Hurts hits Jahan Dotson for 28 yards, setting up a tush-push.
Yeah, one-on-one coverage. You get a pass over the top. This tush-push is undefeated all season.
So Eagles up 7-0, looking for more when Chief safety Brian Cook calls in the red zone pick.
Yeah, this was a big play right here. Pressure up front. Helps the back end, made a big play right there. We didn't capitalize.
Tide not turning as Philly kicks a field goal up 10-0. Then Cooper DeJean picks off Patrick Mahomes, and a pick six makes it 17-zip Birds.
Yeah, young Iowa Hawkeye. I don't want to root for him right now, but big play right now in a big moment.
Disaster of a start gets worse the very next time Mahomes drops back. He throws another pick deep in his own territory to Zach Bond.
That wasn't an errant throw. That was pressure up front. Calls, then errant throw, turns into a touchdown.
The dam is collapsing. Eagles offense makes him pay. Hurts to A.J. Brown. It's 24-0. Final minutes before the half, Mahomes and a wide-open DeAndre Hopkins cannot connect. Des, that kind of night.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic. This guy is one of the surest hands in the NFL. I don't know if he lost it in the lights or what happened.
24-0 entering the second half, where, after the break, it's more of the same with Mahomes simply unable to execute in the pocket.
More of this pass rush. These guys are relentless. They got 8 deep up front, and they all got after 15 tonight.
And the Eagles did it by rushing 4, not blitzing, but Mahomes, a little bit of happy feet tonight, Des.
Yeah, 0 blitzes tonight versus the Kansas City Chiefs. These guys got after Patrick Mahomes with the 4 guys up front.
Either way, they could not work together to start the passing attack till late in the game. Chiefs had only 3 yards over a span of 17 plays, and this was the dagger 46-yard touchdown to Smith. It's 34-0.
Yeah, that felt like the play that ended the game. A big play over the top, 27-0.
And then it is just respectable, though, the way the Chiefs responded. Mahomes to Xavier Worthy for a 50-yard gain, then 24-yard touchdown to the rookie. So, Des, no Super Bowl shutout.
Yeah, you won't shut these guys out. They're going to keep fighting to the very last moment. This young guy did just that.
And Philly finishes with 6 sacks on the game. That is 1 shy of the Super Bowl record. But the Chiefs responding. DeAndre Hopkins hauls in a touchdown in his first Super Bowl. Justin Watson a 2-point conversion. Then Worthy again for a 50-yard touchdown. Des, they're finishing with at least a bit of positivity.
Yeah, a little bit of garbage time. But this is a young guy. Great reps, built some confidence. Patrick Mahomes is going to fight to the very last seconds.
And that is the rookie debut of Super Bowl. Xavier Worthy, the rookie, his Super Bowl debut, but he stood the test of time, even though the Eagles still win 40-22. Des, that score, respectable, but it wasn't that close. How are you, when you look back at those highlights, what's the moment that stands out to you?
Yeah, a lot of that stuff was in garbage time, and this was domination by the Philadelphia Eagles, unfortunately. But you got to like a few things. You see all the way up into the very end of that film, there's Chiefs players making plays, especially the #1 guy, first overall pick. This guy he played like a first-round draft pick this year. Yeah. Kansas City should be ecstatic about his performance.
Again, that's a positive, but the headline is a negative. And I think, Des, where it really sunk in for me was that interception, that pick 6 by Cooper DeJean. Because when it was 10-0, that's where you could make the case, hey, they're going to flip the switch. But not only that pick, then another pick on his very next drop back. That's a Mahomes that we haven't seen at all this year.
Yeah, I mean, one throw was errant. You know, really great coverage. These guys had a great plan for Patrick Mahomes. Some of these crosses, they sat on that one. But the second one, there was pressure up front. He got hit low, caused the errant throw, and the Eagles capitalized. This is a sign of a good defense. They made their mark all year, forcing turnovers, and they did just that tonight.
And the view wasn't great from TV. I don't know if it was much better on the sideline, and that's where Neil Jones was today. Neil, what were you watching for on the field? Did it look as bad from your vantage point as it did for all of us back here in Kansas City?
No, when you're shooting a game like this, especially the Chiefs, you're way ahead of them because they may throw a deep pass. You want to be there for the ball to come to you, and all the action was going on the other end of the field, and you have to move down. It was awful. There was a point midway through the second quarter, I think I had one good play for the Chiefs. Everything was for the Eagles. I did hear something interesting out in the scrum, out in the middle of the field. Some of the guys were yelling at their coach, the Eagles players yelling at their coach, Nick Sirianni, hey, we got your back. You got bragging rights. You got bragging rights. And, of course, that's because his wife, Ashley, he met her in Kansas City. He coached for 3 years for the Chiefs, 10, 11, and 12, and then he left after 2012. They met in Kansas City. Her whole family are Chiefs fans. And he said back in Phoenix before the game, if we lose this game, I will never hear the end of it from my in-laws. He apparently told the team and talked to the team about that this week, and they were saying, Coach, we got your back. You can go home to Lee Summit or wherever her family lives in the Kansas City area, and we got this, so Ashley can't get you anymore. I thought that was interesting. Nick Sirianni has been very open about the fact he loves Kansas City football fans and appreciated his time here.
Yeah, it's interesting, Neil. I'm going to say a sentence that not a lot of Chiefs fans wanted to hear or thought was even possible, Des. Nick Sirianni and Vic Fangio outcoached Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts outplayed Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry, I'll take all of Kansas City's guys for the long run, but tonight, when we're looking at today, Des, that's an accurate sentence.
Yeah, I mean, tonight we were outcoached, outplayed, but that's what happens when you have a hungry team. This Philadelphia Eagle team came in hungry, and they were very focused. It was a performance by them. You got to tip your hat.
Neil, you were shaking your head. Do you disagree? Do you have more of a Chiefs spin on that?
No, I don't. But I don't know that. I don't think the quarterbacks were playing behind the same lines.
No.
I think what Desmond said earlier, football games, what did you say? Football games are still won in the trenches.
Absolutely.
I mean, not as much as they were back in the 60s and 70s, but everybody in there was saying, hey, their line beat our line. When I talked to the Eagles players on the field, they said the difference was up front. And Jalen Hurts had an opportunity to go back, stand around, scan the field, and then take off running. Patrick Mahomes, when he ran, he generally was running for his life. The Chiefs, for whatever reason, I don't think it was schematic because they didn't blitz. I think, therefore, beat the Chiefs 5 all night long when the Chiefs had the football.
Right, but also, Neil, I give credit to the Eagles for coming up with a scheme that they're able to get home without blitzing, still having, that development in that scheme that worked to where a lot of times Patrick Mahomes is able to pick things apart.
Yeah.
Today he couldn't, and that's where, Des, I get back to the fact that he never looked comfortable in the pocket. Yeah. Sometimes that was deservedly so. Other times he just didn't look himself.
There was no schematics there. When you can rush 4 guys and you can beat 5 guys, it's easy to play defense. These guys were outmanned tonight, and that's a physical game. It starts up front. You got to play with all the love and the heart in your body in order to go out there and win football games in the trenches. Tonight, Kansas City did not have the same fight as the people in the green.
Yep, it happens.
Yeah,
we'll have more
does.
with Des coming up throughout the next hour. Zach and Carolyn.
The Chiefs tonight outcoached, outplayed in Super Bowl 59. They fall to the Eagles. Final score 40-22. But Coach Reid saying they will learn from this and move on.
And we all must do the same. Move on as we bring you live continuing coverage here from Kansas City and from New Orleans. We'll also look ahead to your week ahead. Interesting forecast. We'll have it for you coming up next.
Closed captioning brought to you by St. Luke's Mid-America Heart Institute, nationally recognized leaders in heart valve disease.
The KCTV5 First Warn Weather app. The earliest alerts, customized for you, and video forecasts from local experts. Download the free KCTV5 First Warn Weather app, your essential winter survival tool.
My name is Keith, and I'm a real client of Brown & Crouppen. When you want a law firm that cares, call Brown & Crouppen.
Your advocate, your partner, on your side. Brown & Crouppen.
Brown & Crouppen took care of me every step of the way.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and it's time to make a big deal out of nothing. Announcing Lee Summit Subaru's 0% event. Zero, like in 0% financing. Zero is back. Up to 0% financing on select 2024 and 2025 Subaru models for 72 months. Yeah, we did that too. And we're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. 0% event and a lifetime warranty. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
The highest art is beautiful, timeless, inspired by the divine. Shen Yun. Coming to Kaufman Center, March 12th and 13th. Tickets at shenyun.com/KC.
Pick 6 is live in Missouri. Check this out, the newest fantasy game from DraftKings. Just pick 2 or more players and choose if they're going to have more or less of a stat. Then compete against others for cash prizes. It's that simple. Okay, let's try it. Do you want more Kevin Hart or less Kevin Hart now? Nope, don't answer that.
New Missouri Pick 6 customers play $5 to get 50 instantly in Pick 6 credits and an NFL Gimme Pick for every Chiefs playoff game. The crown is yours.
Moving can mean finding a place where your kids can run and play, a cross-country track to start a career, or beginning a new chapter in life. Visit YouMoveMe.com today for a free estimate and find out why You Move Me will be your best move ever.
Gray Digital Media. We know local. Let's connect today. GDMKC.com.
That first shock, unforgettable.
The impact, life-changing. Don't miss the Polar Plunge, benefiting Special Olympics Kansas.
Take the plunge with us.
February 22nd at Lake Olathe. Visit plungeks.org.
Sign up today to make a difference.
The KCTV5 News app. The news and weather you need all in one app.
Live look now over the Caesars Superdome, lit up in green for the Philadelphia Eagles win over the Kansas City Chiefs, final 40-22. There in New Orleans, our crew's telling us it's right around 70 degrees on this sad, rather gloomy night.
Yeah, but back here in the metro, we have some bitter cold headed our way and an impactful winter storm expected on Wednesday.
So we want to get over now to our First Warn 5 meteorologist Warren Sears now for a look at what is ahead this week, Warren.
Yeah, lots of people probably traveling home from New Orleans, just weekly travel, maybe for work and heading, to school and work on our normal routines. That all could be impacted here over the next few days. So let's start chronologically. Monday should be mainly dry. There's a chance for some snow showers later in the evening and into the early overnight. That could bring some minor travel impacts Tuesday morning. This first wave of 2 doesn't look as impactful, but there still could be some slick spots and slowdowns to start Tuesday. Now, let's turn our attention to Wednesday. This really has my attention. I think we'll have much larger impacts in the form of significant snowfall totals on Wednesday. It looks like an all-day event, really Tuesday night through all of Wednesday. There will be issues for travel, air, and road, and that has our First Warn Weather Day, our higher tier messaging there, because, again, we expect disruptions to your normal routine. So let's talk that first wave that comes in Monday evening and night, really through Tuesday morning. I actually brought these totals down a little bit. Good news, it's not looking at maybe to be as impactful with maybe just a trace to an inch of snow. Still, again, could have some slick spots early Tuesday morning, depends on where some of those numbers trend up to an inch on the roadways. But that round 2, that could bring us 4 to 7 inches of snow, a good solid swath of snow, and my confidence is high to have numbers like this, again, Tuesday evening through all of Wednesday. So tomorrow, we start with maybe some sun, a few breaks in those clouds, but then clouds take over in the afternoon. But you can see even in through the evening on Monday into about midnight, I'm not really expecting a whole lot, but some snow showers widely scattered through the early morning on Tuesday. Again, a couple of bursts of snow possible in your neighborhood, and this could be likely basically through midday, and then I'd say that's about it. So any sort of afternoon travel on Tuesday looks okay, but then later in the evening, things will ramp back up. So trace to an inch with a few select locations on the higher end of this. Most of us probably just in the trace to a dusting there for that first batch. The second batch has our attention and has alerts tied to it. So we do have a winter storm watch in place for everybody watching this broadcast right now for Tuesday evening all the way through 6 p.m. Wednesday late afternoon and into the early evening. The reason that this was put into place is because, again, our confidence across the board is high to have big impacts, bands of snow with many hours of moderate to heavy snow. It'll be blowing around, not quite to blizzard conditions, but I do think it'll be gusty at times and very cold as well. So let's time that out. This second system, quick on its heels here, 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Tuesday, could already start to see some light snow spreading in, but I don't think until after midnight through about lunchtime, that'll be our heaviest time frame, it looks like right now, and all snow with this one. Our rain snow mix, our wintry mix stays well to the south. So again, cold enough for all snow all day on Wednesday, could taper off maybe around dinner and into late evening Wednesday, and then things look quiet on Thursday, so travel would be better. So let's talk travel. Could have a few impacts late in the day Monday into early Tuesday, just a few delays maybe, a few slick spots, things like that. But Wednesday, if you are traveling on the roads or even in the air, if you have flights, please make sure that you are starting to think about an alternative plan, because we are very confident, as I've mentioned a few times, for having impactful snow in the region on Wednesday. Temperatures are cold as well. Look at Thursday morning, 5 degrees. I think your wind chills will be even colder than that. We'll tick back up to the 30s Friday and Saturday, but yet another storm system has our attention next Saturday for more wintry mix and even some more snow. So a very busy week ahead. We'll keep you updated on that latest forecast, guys.
Yeah, it was just a little over a month that we had that blizzard. We all know how that went, so prepare now for Wednesday's weather.
We know what it can be like, indeed. Right. All right, more live coverage for you of Super Bowl 59 and the sad outcome out of New Orleans. We'll take you back there live after this break.
Well, it was a repeat of Super Bowl 57, Chiefs versus Eagles, but that outcome was not the same as 2 years ago. The Chiefs fall to the Eagles in Super Bowl 59.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate night, an unfortunate loss to those Eagles tonight. We have crews, though, stationed all across the metro here, but in New Orleans there as well, where I'm sure that loss being felt a little deeper right there within the Superdome. Let's go out to Brad Stevens, Carolina Cruz, and our Marlia Campbell. Guys, how are you?
Yeah, Zach and Carolyn, let's talk about real quick about the energy in the building. Even before the game started, this was clearly a pro-Eagles crowd. Eagles, from a standpoint of attendance, appeared to dominate Chiefs Kingdom inside the dome. And then every single time they would even show a clip of a Chiefs highlight, or if a Chiefs player would run out onto the field, there would just be a loud chorus of boos. All the energy before the game started was clearly all on the Philadelphia Eagles side.
Taylor Swift got booed today.
Right.
That's when you know you're in Eagles territory.
She did not see that coming.
Yeah, you're exactly right. From intros, you expect to usually hear a mix. It was 100% boos when the Chiefs came out, 100% cheers. It sounded like, at least that was the dominating energy. I think you're right, they were outnumbered, and I think the Eagles crowd was just louder out here today. And we can still hear echoes of them on the field behind us celebrating the win, which we don't love here.
No, for Chiefs Kingdom, for Chiefs fans, this is a gut punch. Yeah. It hurts, especially looking for that historic three-peat. It didn't happen. It just didn't happen. And now, you refocus, like Andy Reid said, and you move on. They're professionals, and you try to reboot and move on to the next year.
Yeah, that's the message a lot of players were giving at the podium today. Our Mark Palos actually just got done speaking with some players. He is outside the Superdome. Mark, what were they saying after the game?
A lot about this, we want to say maybe the Chiefs didn't play well, but when we were talking to the Chiefs, they gave all the credit to the Eagles. They talked about the things that the Eagles did well. I also asked head coach Andy Reid, maybe was there anything that Philadelphia did that surprised you? He said no. A lot of what they did, but there were things that they saw on tape. There were things that the team planned for, but Philadelphia just came out, they played hard, and they executed better than the Chiefs. Talking to some of those players, just hearing what they had to say, it was almost like the Chiefs knew they just got outplayed in every single facet of the game. They were like, there was not a single area of this football game where the Chiefs outperformed the Philadelphia Eagles. When I asked Nick Bolton, the linebacker, what worked so well for Philadelphia, he said they stayed on time, they stayed on schedule, and that is exactly not what the Philadelphia Eagles allowed the Chiefs to do. The Chiefs were never on schedule. The Chiefs were never on time. Maybe that is a problem with the Chiefs, but the Chiefs gave the credit to that to the Philadelphia Eagles, and sometimes, guys, you just got to tip your hat. That's what happened tonight. This is why they play the games. The favorites don't always win. You have to win it out there on the football field, and the Philadelphia Eagles did that tonight. We're going to toss it back to you guys back there inside the Superdome, or maybe in the studio.
Yeah, we just didn't play our best. I mean, sometimes you have those games where you say, oh, the other team didn't do their best, but it was really us, right, in this one. We're going to come back right after this break.
Your first 1-5 7-day forecast is brought to you by
It was just not meant to be for the Kansas City Chiefs.
KC Sports tonight, and this is next. Good night.